2007, 2008, into 2009, the thing I said to myself more than anything else was, "You're so effed. You're effed." And I think we all tend to have voices. I was just learning this in a 12-step talk that there's a condemnation voice. Do you hear that? That you're a screw up, you effed up, you're an idiot, you stupid effer, you stupid mother effer. I think we all tend to have that condemnation voice. And then we have like the slacker voice, like, oh, you can ease up, you don't need to work out today, you don't need to work on your book, you don't need to go to work, you can just call in sick, you don't need to live up to that volunteer position that you committed to today, you can just Netflix out, right? I think we all have that slacker voice in our head. Then we have like the judging father's voice. So I remember I was saying some really harsh things about myself, and my therapist said, "Where did that come from? Whose voice is that?" And I realized it was my father's voice. I was kind of talking to myself from my father's voice. My father tended to make everyone around him, who were around him on an ongoing basis, as opposed to like a one-off or an occasional basis, but people around him, ongoing basis, generally speaking, he tended to make them feel less than, tended to make them feel guilty, that they were slackers, that they weren't meeting the mark, that they were a disappointment, that they lacked his discipline. Father was great at kind of instilling a feeling of less than, and that you weren't measuring up. So there's that voice we have in our head. We could have the mother's voice. Oh, you're just a disappointment. You let us down. You won't take responsibility. Or it may be like a more nurturing voice. It's like, oh, you've worked so hard. You deserve to just Netflix out this evening. Or, you've worked so hard, son. Why don't you just watch some porn? Right? So there's that voice. There's like the prosecutor voice. It's like, you can't do anything right. You're always sloppy and careless. You're a dangerous man. You're a detriment to anyone who allows you into their life. So we have the prosecutor voice or the judge's voice, which is a little bit similar, but hereby sentence you to be miserable. Hereby sentence you to be lonely. Hereby sentence you to screwing up again and again and again. I hereby sentence you, right? We tend to have that voice. We tend to have audio files in our head, like the most horrible things that anyone's ever said to us. For example, I remember in 2001, a friend emailed me. He said, "Here is the feeling in our house. I don't trust you. My kids fear you. And my wife hates you." Okay, I still remember that word for word. So we tend to have audio files or video files of like the nastiest, harshest, most cutting things that people have ever said to us. And they're just recorded and we just keep playing them. Because we all have what I learned are museum states. We have these certain emotional states that spring from childhood where we just feel most comfortable. So if you're watching my videos, you probably have the museum state of just constantly feeling less than other people, less than worthy, or a crumbaholic, that you're only worthy of the crumbs in life, you're not really worthy of the whole loaf. Or the misery maven, what you're most familiar with is just the feeling of misery, this absolute misery and defeat. So you're kind of addicted to returning to that museum state of misery. Or you could be a drama addict, you just constantly need excitement, and you're bored with stability, so you've always got to whip up conflict with the people around you. So what are some other common voices that we hear in our head? Maybe like a teacher. You'll never amount to anything, can never rely on you. You never do the assignment. You even listening to what I'm saying, right? Or we've got the voices of old bosses in our head. We should know how to motivate you. Or I can never rely on you, or you're sloppy, or you're stupid, or right? We've got those voices going on in our heads, or ex-girlfriends, things they say when they're breaking up. We just want different things. You don't seem to have any ambition, or I just don't feel like I can rely on you. You don't seem motivated to be a provider, or I don't think you'll be faithful, or you don't treat me very well, or my therapist says I should get rid of you, or I think I'm only with you because I'm so depressed, or like we tend to have these voices in our heads. And so it's a good question, like, whose voice is that? Does that come from your father? Does it come from a teacher? Does that come from a vengeful ex-girlfriend? And so we may be addicted to seeking out misery. And the solution, instead of seeking out misery, is to seek out God, seek out recovery, seek out community with people who are living a good life. Seek out uplifting literature, seek out uplifting YouTube streams, seek out uplifting people, right? Notice some people you're around, they just make you feel like crap. Other people you're around, you always feel great when you're around them. It's like, whoa, this is amazing. So instead of being addicted to disorder and slovenliness and mess, you can come, okay, I'm going to clean this up, I'm going to get organized, I'm going to track my time, I'm going to throw away things or give away things that I don't need. So instead of being addicted to misery, we can be addicted to 12-step programs or to uplifting literature and speakers. We can get addicted to good people rather than those destructive voices that we so often hear in our heads. But to get rid of those destructive voices, I think we have to get clear about whose voice are they? Is that my mother's voice? Is that my father's voice? Is that my ex-friend's voice? And what are the museum states that I'm addicted to? Am I addicted to feeling less than? Am I addicted to feeling miserable? Am I a crumaholic? Am I addicted to just settling for crumbs in life?